Tonight on MediaPlex News Now, students at the University of Windsor protested this week to fight the fees. The Windsor Public Library opens its archives for Black History Month, and Canadians took selfies to promote eating disorder awareness. All those stories and more tonight on MediaPlex News Now. I'm Sanjay Maru. Thank you so much for joining us. Lower fees and fair tuition. Those are the demands of students across Canada. Kyle Rose went down to the University of Windsor to learn more.
Last Thursday, it was a day of action here at the University of Windsor, where students and staff gathered to protest the rise in student fees. There was a lot of students here at the CAW, and it was extremely busy.
We are fighting for fairness for all students all across the nation. We are fighting for international students who pay 50 to 20% more each year.
Rising tuition fees and affordable education continue to be a problem in the country, and especially right here in Ontario. And if you're a student, you can relate. Mohammed Akbar talks to us about how he and his colleagues at the University of Windsor are doing something to step up.
So this is part of a provincial day of action for the Canadian Federation of Students. Across this province, students are protesting high tuition fees, barriers towards access to education, in addition to rising tuition fees and inadequate support systems. You know, a lot of people talk about this free tuition grant, but it's just not accessible and it doesn't reach students. In addition, students are protesting the fact that we are one of the most food insecure generations, bar none, in over 50, 60 years. Over 4 out of 10 students are food insecure, which means that students aren't eating, students aren't finding food. Students have to leave school because they can't afford it. There's multiple students who have to leave 2-3 years, both at universities and colleges, because they're working and they don't have the time, they can't afford the high tuition fees. We're seeing students put on going into part-time studies and having to work, the result being that they generally get lower grades because they're busy focused on all their other priorities.
UWSA Vice President Admira said student involvement and participation is always key.
Well, honestly, it's always, it fluctuates when it comes to interviews. It fluctuates when it comes to protest rallies because people have school, other commitments and involvement, which is totally cool. Organizing was actually a hassle, but obviously
as well. So it's just kind of giving them a little bit of information, making them think twice when they're using social media.
It's reported eating disorders is a mental illness and one with the highest death rate. Booth visitors created messages that reflected their sense of self and served as encouragement to others.
I chose the word "you are enough," and that's just a simple reminder that no matter what you go through, whatever circumstances you happen to have happen in your life, just remember that you're always enough, and you don't have to be more than whatever society has that is outlined as like the standard for beauty, for intelligence, for anything.
Banna Health Promotions educator Shauna Chandusi says there's a real educational piece to the campaign, and it's just the beginning of the conversation.
And that story came to us from MediaPlex reporter Jillian Toman. And now let's go to Ryan Jones for a look at our current weather conditions. Ryan?
Well, Sanjay, as I'm standing here on the corner of University and Victoria, I can tell you it's an absolute struggle to keep my teeth from chattering. The temperature is currently -9 degrees Celsius, but with the wind chill, it is a biting -16. This temperature will remain even through the evening and into the night, but expect 1 to 3 centimeters of snow in the morning. Back to you, Sanjay.
Thanks, Ryan. Did you know the Windsor-Essex Community Health Center recently hosted a public forum to discuss substance abuse and addiction? Amos Johnson went down to the Kaboto Club to bring us the details. Stay warm out there while we take a look.
If your child has an alcohol or drug addiction, the signs and symptoms can blend with common teen or young adult behavior. Such symptoms can result in change of behavior, attitude, hygiene, friends, and even health.
So these are important aspects that we as a community need to address. We as parents, teachers, police officers, students, that all need to look into this and say, how can we stop this?
The Windsor-Essex Community Health Center hosted their 4th Not My Kid Adolescence and Addictions Community Panel at the Giovanni Kaboto Club. Guest speakers attending the event include health professionals, recovering addicts, and even those who had lost loved ones due to addictions.
I lived years in an addiction, right, between cocaine, booze, fentanyl, Oxycontin, and today I've been able to stay sober for a year, and I was just asked to come here to share my experience, strength, and hope, and that's what I've been able to do.
If you suspect your child or the child of someone you know of having a drug problem, contact drugfreekidscanada.org for more information or assistance. This has been Amos Johnson for MediaPlex News Now.
The sports world is still buzzing about the Philadelphia Eagles picking up their first Super Bowl win in franchise history. But the news doesn't stop there. We now go to Cody Roussan and Kyle Rose for another edition of Sports Talk. Gentlemen?
Thank you, Sanjay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Kyle Rose.
And I'm Cody Roussan. Welcome to your Plex Sports Update.
And Sanjay, absolutely correct. This past Sunday was huge because it's a Super Bowl and your favorite team, the Philadelphia Eagles, coming away with the huge victory and crushing Tom Brady's goals of trying to get that 6th ring. It didn't happen. Nick Foles came away with the MVP. Talk to us about your experience watching the game.
Well, quickly, before I touch up on my own experience with it, I just want to point out you're saying 6th ring, correct?
Yep.
Now, I saw a lot of videos coming out from Barstool Sports, and these Patriot fans were not happy. Some fans smashing their TVs, which I never understood that point of protest. I mean, if you don't want the TV, I'll take the TV. You might be able to take the TV.
I'll take it.
I'm sure Sanjay would want the TV.
Yep.
You know, everybody would want that TV, but they smash it, and they're all crying. It's like they didn't see their team win last year. Now, to carry on, the Eagles, yes, 52 years, finally they're Super Bowl champions. We'll go back to the days where me and my dad were playing catch in an open field. I stumble upon a football that's just laying there. It's got an Eagles logo on it. And, you know, I didn't know at the time that these Eagles were within the NFL. I was too young, had never watched a football game in my life. And fast forward a couple weeks later, my dad and I are watching a football game, and it's got the Eagles in it, and I'm watching Donovan McNabb, and I'm falling in love with this team. And ever since then, it was just a thing for me to watch Eagles football. The bye week would always kind of suck. Playoffs, unfortunately, they didn't make it a lot, but they came in as the underdogs, defeated Atlanta, defeated Minnesota, and defeated, quite honestly, and arguably the most elite quarterback of all time in Tom Brady, and that was Nick Foles, the backup, because Carson Wentz had been injured prior in the season. But congratulations to the city of Philadelphia. Congratulations to the entire Eagles organization. We had a 99-year-old Eagles fan there, actually, who got to see it happen. I'm so happy for him. Yeah. And you know what? That's enough about football, because I could go on all day about it, but we need to cut it short.
Yeah.
How about some basketball action? Let us know.
Well, speaking of basketball, actually speaking of Philly, you talked about the Philadelphia Eagles. Kyle Lowry, who is a native of Philadelphia, was super excited, but he's focusing tonight because the Raptors have a huge game against the Boston Celtics. Now, these are the 1 and 2 spots in the Eastern Conference, so they're looking to do battle to maintain supremacy in the East. And moving on to the Detroit Pistons, ever since they acquired Blake Griffin, you know, they've been 3-0. They're doing really well, but they're in the 9th spot in the Eastern Conference, so they're looking to battle, you know, make a push for the 8th spot so that they could be in the playoffs. But enough about basketball. Talk to us about some Lancer hockey. I know you're covering them.
Well, with the men's Lancers, they're in a playoff position. But going into Friday's game, they were 2 points up on the Waterloo Warriors in the Toronto Varsity Blues. Now, the Lancers had a contest on Friday night against the Lakehead Thunderwolves. That's Thunderwolves. I called them Timberwolves a little too long in that game, and I'm so sorry, Lakehead. Unfortunately, Windsor did not come away with the points that night. Toronto and Waterloo, however, did. So they tied at 21 for that night. The very next night, the Windsor Lancers had to take on the Brock Badgers. They came up. The Toronto Varsity Blues and Waterloo Warriors played each other. Toronto came away with that. So currently, Toronto and Windsor are tied right now with 2 games remaining. And unfortunately, that's all the time we have. We're going to send it back to you, Sanjay. Thank you very much.
And thank you so much, gentlemen. For many of us, caffeine is an important part of our day. How many cups a day do you have, and how much is too much? We now go to Ryan Jones for the answers in this Health Minute.
It's safe to say coffee is one of Canada's favorite drinks. Whether it be Tim Hortons, Starbucks, or homemade, we all rely on that little pick-me-up in the morning. By all, I mean 71% of Canadians between the ages of 18 to 79, according to Coffee Association of Canada's 2017 coffee study. Whether it be black, double, or 2 milk, it all contains the same substance, caffeine. But what is a healthy cap of caffeine consumption? According to Dietitians of Canada, the healthy amount of caffeine for an adult is 400 milligrams, which equals 3 8-ounce cups of coffee, resulting to 24 ounces in total. To put this into perspective, a small Tim Hortons coffee is almost 10 ounces, a medium coffee is around 14, and a large is 19. They also caution that some people may react differently to caffeine. While some feel awake and alert, others may acquire nervousness, anxiety, insomnia, and upset stomachs. Don't let this deter you from your love of coffee, but rather educate you with the caffeinated facts. This has been Ryan Jones with your Health Minute.
Getting kids connected with the outdoors, that is the mission of Natural Pathways Forest School. Ennis Liu spoke with one of the school's educators to learn about this unique organization.
What is the core purpose of the organization?
The core purpose of Natural Pathways Forest School is to provide an area that kids can have a connection with nature. So it's an emergent program and it's play-based. So children are allowed to go out and play in nature and they learn through those connections that they create with nature. And they're allowed to explore, follow animal tracks, climb trees, do what children usually do.
Where do you choose to explore the outdoors for children?
We have 3 locations that we currently use. We use Holiday Beach in Amherstburg, Camp Brierswood Girl Guide Camp in Amherstburg, and we also use For the Birds in Harrow, which is a beautiful forested area that the kids really love to explore.
Okay. What ages are suitable for this program?
We have different programs for different ages. So on every other Tuesday morning, we have a family adventure morning, and kids from newborn to about 11 years old come out, and we explore the forest as a family. So the parents stay for that event. We also have school groups and drop-off programs, and those kids are usually between the ages of 4 and about 12 years old.
Well, what else should we know about the forest school?
The other things to know about forest school is that we're emergent, so it's all about what the kids are experiencing. We change with the seasons, so as the seasons change, the forests change, and the kids' curiosities change. We also have an event coming up on April 28th for Earth Day, which will be at Camp Brierswood in Amherstburg from 10 to 2. We're going to have a drumming circle, and we'll have Simon Steeps for learning how to make tea in nature, and we'll have a lot of different other events. We're also doing tree planting out there as well that day.
And now let's check back in with Ryan for our 3-day forecast. Ryan?
Thanks, Sanjay. Tomorrow won't be as quite chilly, but we will still be sitting under zero at -5 degrees Celsius, expecting some light flurries. Thursday, we will drop back down a bit to -6 degrees Celsius with a wind chill at -12, but we can expect some sunshine. Unfortunately, this isn't so for Friday as the clouds roll in, bringing with it 80% chance of snow. Temperatures will sit at -4 degrees and it will feel like -9. That is all from the corner of University in Victoria. This has been Ryan Jones. Back to you, Sanjay.
February sure is cold, Ryan. And February is also Black History Month and is a time to celebrate the legacy of those past and present. And the Windsor Public Library recently opened up their history room to do just that. Amy Bao has more.
Canadians have been marking Black History Month for more than 2 decades, and Windsor Public Library hosted an open house over the weekend to commemorate the event. Visitors were toured around to see historical materials in the local history room and the Fred Israel Auditorium. History lovers had the chance to see and touch the very rare items not usually available to the public. Participants were encouraged to talk and share their stories with author Erin Moore Davis for her book, The Long Road Continues. Editor Sharon Hanna hopes this will be the best book for the community.
And if you have photographs or some sorts of memorabilia, we're going to scan those things in. Because this is a history of a community that's been here for generations, and we want people to be able to see themselves reflected in that book.
The film camp for kids and youth program were presented during the event. Youth program coordinator Aaron Fortax says it is important for next generation to take part in.
I think it's really exciting to be able to engage youth in the history as well, and I think it's just important for people to be able to tell their stories and share their stories, and again, to have youth be involved in that, to pass it, because the idea is sort of to pass it on to future generations, right? So it's great to get kids involved in recording that process.
Black History Month in Windsor, Essex has many events going on. For more information, visit Tourism Windsor, Essex. For MediaPlex News, I am Amy Bao.
Windsor is known for many things: pizza, automobiles, and even its historic film scene. Curlis Maddie sat down with one local filmmaker in this edition of 3 Minutes With.
Welcome to 3 Minutes With Matthew Lupino. Matthew is a local filmmaker of short films such as The Blink of an Eye and True Colors. He's releasing a new short film called Love Drunk on Valentine's Day, which is less than a month away. So, Matt, tell me a little bit about this new film, about where the idea came from.
Okay, so Love Drunk is a short film inspired by true events, following the character Noah as he is haunted by the memory of Anna on New Year's Eve. And as he's haunted by the memory of Anna, he becomes very love drunk on her. The idea is, like I said, it's inspired by true events. So it's actually about a breakup, a true breakup that happened in my life. And it just so happens that it happened on Valentine's Day, and it's going to be released on Valentine's Day, which I find really interesting a year later. So yeah, it's all about a breakup.
And as a filmmaker, what is your favorite film of all time?
It'd have to be Rocky for sure.
And why is that?
It's the subtle underdog story. I find that it relates to my life in so many ways. In a lot of ways, in Windsor, we're underdogs in the film industry, and so being able to shine in the industry and being successful is kind of like my own underdog story, and I relate to the Rocky story very much.
What are you most proud of, whether it be professional or personal?
So it would be both personal and professional. I was fortunate enough to go to LA for my second time when I was 20 years old, and as a student filmmaker, I made a film called The Blink of an Eye, which highlights the death of Michaela Skirto. I don't know, she's a Windsorite. And it was just about her life and how she inspired others through her passing. And I was able to go to LA, which was a fantastic experience. And then we ended up winning Best Romance Short, which was out of this world. A really great experience.
What does that award mean to you?
It's my first award, so it means everything. It's the start point of my career, I think. It's finally where I get recognition of what the work I'm putting in, and just knowing that it's like my own underdog story. It's my Rocky story. It's me winning for the first time in LA, which was a fantastic experience.
What could we look forward from you in 2018?
2018 is a new chapter for me. So I've been specialized in drama and romance all my life. Now I'm going into doing some different genres, including thrillers. So I've actually experimented with a buddy of mine called Griffin Sear, and we're writing a new film called Delusion, and it's basically a thriller romance, which is going to be very interesting. I don't want to give too much away on it.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for tuning in to 3 Minutes with Matthew Lupino.
Valentine's Day is just around the corner, and if you still need help planning that perfect weekend for your special someone, MediaPlex reporter Lori Harrison has you covered in this week's special Valentine's Day community calendar. Lori?
Thanks, Sanjay. Well, you may not love what the weather has in store for us this weekend, but with weekend options featuring chocolate, wine, and dinner, love will definitely be in the air for you and someone special. Kick off this Valentine's week with chocolate. Lots and lots of chocolate. Head over to the Valentine's Bazaar and Chocolate Festival taking place at the WFCU Center Saturday from 10 to 2 and support local vendors. After your chocolate fill, find your perfect pairing by making your way out to the county. There you will find a couple of great wine-inspired events. Meet the Makers will be taking place this Saturday from noon to 5 p.m. at Cooper's Hog Vineyard and the Vines Restaurant. Enjoy tastings and stories at each winery. All weekend long, the $20 Discovery Pass gets you one food and wine pairing at each participating winery. Coolio Estate Winery will be holding their 18th annual Festival of Ice this Saturday through Sunday, with the main event taking place Saturday from noon until 6. Participate in a number of Canadian-themed traditions, watch live ice carvings with family, and enjoy ice wine tasting, and more. On Sunday, February 11th, stop by the winery once more to view the completed ice sculptures and enjoy wine tastings, snacks, and exclusive wine deals in their retail boutique. Admission is a non-perishable food item or monetary donation to benefit St. Vincent de Paul Society Food Bank for Harrow and Colchester. But with your donation, you will receive a tasting passport where you can sample Prism ice wine and one wine of your choice along with a chocolate fountain. Finally, to cap off the weekend, enjoy a delicious romantic dinner at Jack's Gastropub from their Love at First Bite special Valentine's Day menu. To kick that romance up just a little bit more, consider planning a county staycation for the weekend and book a room at Jack's Gastropub Inn 31. This has been your special edition Valentine's Day community calendar. Back to you, Sanjay.
Thanks, Lori. I know you're really into art, and I have a feeling you're going to love this next piece. At the Walkerville Artists Co-op, local painters have a place to host workshops and classes. As some local artists have found, painting can make our lives more peaceful. Kushmendirata draws up the details.
With our lives filled with work and family, we don't realize how important it is to have time saved for something that can make our lives easier. An escape from the stressful hours working day and night. It can boost our drive to life and make our lives much happier. It can be any activity that can calm your mind and create a peaceful environment for you. For Jacqueline Ferrero, it's painting. During an artistic event, Open Mind, Open Canvas Meditation in Painting, hosted by Nora Franco, Jacqueline describes about her stress buster.
I work at a very, stressful job, and when I come here, you can use, your creative side and start painting, and it calms me, and it's a form of just relaxing for me. And the meditation before induces that part of relaxation. Well, that's what I like about it, really.
Meditation and just very calm and relaxed, and that's the goal. That's the goal. And after the painting, it's just a lot of fun, just to let their creativity flow and let their imagination go wild. That's what I like about it,
Your escape can be anything that you enjoy doing and can make your life much happier place with no stress. For MediaPlex News, I am Kushmendirata.
This weekend's Super Bowl means more than just a score between teams. Some local businesses also saw an increase in traffic. Miller Hill reports.
Super Bowl 52, the Philadelphia Eagles took on the defending champs, the New England Patriots. It was a big weekend for football, but also for local restaurants, bars, and stores. Bob Riem, owner of Bob Riem Sports in Windsor, says the Super Bowl provides a nice boost for his business.
January is usually our worst month of the year because it's right after Christmas, but the Super Bowl and the playoffs kind of help out in that drastically because it's about the most meaningful games being played.
It's not just apparel that sees an uptick in sales. Loose Goose in downtown Windsor anticipated a high demand in takeout orders for Super Bowl Sunday parties. Manager Chris O'Keefe says they had $1,000 in pre-orders hours before the game started.
Most people do Super Bowl parties at their house, so we do expect that we will do quite a bit in food sales.
Though the weather may have been a disadvantage for some businesses, it was helpful for food deliveries.
And that story came to us from MediaPlex reporter Miller Hill. And now let's check in with March Wren, who is joined by Stephanie Craig, president of Canada's Turner Syndrome Society. This rare condition affects 1 in 2,500 women, and Windsor is looking to form their own chapter of the group.
How long has the Turner Syndrome Society of Canada been around, and what brought it into existence?
The Turner Syndrome Society of Canada has been around for over 30 years now. It was started by a group of women who had been diagnosed with Turner syndrome, and they really wanted to raise awareness and education about the condition and also provide a support network for others who had been diagnosed with it. So they started this group up in Toronto, and it became a charitable organization. And now the main office is in Ottawa, and we have chapters and groups located all across Canada.
Okay, thanks. And what is a Turner syndrome, and what causes it to happen?
No, Turner syndrome is a very rare genetic condition that occurs in approximately 1 in every 2,500 women and girls. And it's caused during cell division as the baby is growing. So what happens is women normally have 2 X chromosomes. And during cell division, what happens with Turner syndrome is that one of those X chromosomes is either completely or partially missing. And that affects the body's ability to absorb growth hormone as well as produce other hormones. So women with Turner syndrome tend to be much shorter than average, as well as usually require additional hormone supplements in order to go through puberty at an average rate, as well as there much greater chances of such things as infertility, as well as other medical conditions, including hearing loss and heart abnormalities.
Okay. And how many people live with Turner syndrome in Windsor?
I'm not sure of the exact numbers, but just by going by the statistics, we're estimating that there could be as many as between 80 to 100 women and girls with Turner syndrome in the Windsor area.
Okay, thanks. And why do you come to the college campus to have Turner Syndrome Foundation booth?
Well, we really want to raise awareness and education about Turner syndrome in the Windsor area. And also a couple years ago, we started a Windsor chapter of the Turner Syndrome Society of Canada. Right now we're a small group, but we're trying to get enough members to turn it into a chapter. And we really want to raise awareness about our group, meet new individuals who have been diagnosed with Turner syndrome, and potentially family members of those who have been diagnosed with Turner syndrome, and help share the information that we have about it and encourage them to come to some of our events and hopefully form a really strong network of individuals with Turner syndrome here in the Windsor area.
And what do you want to tell people through this Turner Syndrome Foundation?
We really want to let people know some more accurate information about Turner syndrome. A lot of times when people get the diagnosis, they get the worst case scenario. And we want to let them know that that's really not the case all the time, that there's just such a wide variety of how the Turner syndrome diagnosis can affect an individual. And there's so many individuals out there who have been diagnosed with Turner syndrome and who just have amazing lives. They've got careers that they love, they have families, they're married, they have hobbies, and they're extremely successful. We've got a number of women in the Turner Syndrome Society of Canada who have even obtained graduate degrees and PhDs and who work in law and nursing and teaching. So we just really want people to know that you can have a really full, happy life with Turner syndrome, and also to let people know that we're here in the Windsor area to support them, and to feel free to connect with us at any time.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Tiffany. Thank you for coming here.
Thank you. It was great to meet you.
Thanks.
The St. Clair College Health Fair launched yesterday and continues until Thursday. The event gives students the opportunity to speak with campus nurses and other medical professionals. Daily topics include physical activity and injury prevention. Thursday's fair will also include information tables from local community organizations.
The health fair at St. Clair College is about, today it's about quitting smoking. And what they talk about is ways to quit smoking. They give you sources to help you quit. For example, your family doctor, a helpline. They give you stickers.
Tomorrow, stop by the fair for free massages that will run until 4 p.m. And with that, I'm Sanjay Maru. Thank you so much for watching this edition of MediaPlex News Now.
MediaPlex News Now is a production of the St. Clair College Journalism Program.